What's going on, traders? Welcome to another weekly Forex forecast for the week of September 16th. The last week on the US dollar, we had a beautiful 1 hour uptrend, and we recently broke that 1 hour uptrend with supply zones being respected and demand zones being removed. So that is definitely a signal to us that we could see some more downward pressure in the dollar. And on Tuesday, we have core retail sales numbers coming out for the US dollar. And on Wednesday, we have a bunch of FOMC stuff coming out with a statement, press conference, economic projections. So we definitely should see the dollar move. It is possible. We do see rallies to the upside, but ultimately with the trends on the higher time frames being down, we are expecting the dollar to continue to fall. All right, starting the weekly Forex forecast off of the DXY on the weekly chart, top-down approach here. Just a reminder, we do have a weekly downtrend indicated by this downward arrow because we did recently break this low. It would be better if we could break this low as well. That would indicate a stronger weekly downtrend, but we do have lower lows being formed here, so there is a weekly downtrend, and in my opinion, that is why we did see that upward trend on the 1 hour chart that I was pointing out earlier at the beginning of the video to you guys. I believe that is why we saw that break to the downside. So like I said, it is possible we do see some strength in the dollar. We already are starting to rally a little bit up to 1 hour supply zones here, and maybe rally to the downside off of any one of these supply zones like that. We also have that daily downward trend as well to the downside. And just so you guys understand this, just because we have a weekly downtrend doesn't mean price is going to go down right away. It is even possible that this whole down move we've seen in the dollar is even just a fake out, because maybe we're going to push up to daily supply and then react to the downside. The bottom line is I am bearish on the DXY due to that weekly and daily downtrend. Even if we get a massive pullback up to 104.01, I'm still going to be bearish at that daily supply zone. So just kind of giving you guys multiple scenarios here. On the 4 hour chart, it is looking pretty sideways. I was telling members in the group last week we needed to see this 4 hour supply zone removed to really indicate strength. Why? Well, because not only is it proven supply that we've already seen a reaction off of, you can go back and watch last 2 weeks ago's weekly Forex forecast. I called out this supply zone. It is a significant supply zone, and not only that, it would create a 4 hour uptrend, which would signal strength, but we failed to even break the high here. So honestly, it is looking very bearish on the dollar. We do have a overall 4 hour supply zone all the way up at 101.57. I think it is possible we retrace up to that supply zone and rally down either this, or we just continue to fall, hopefully breaking these lows and basically continuing the 4 hour downtrend. Because yes, we have a daily downtrend on the DXY right now. How does a daily downtrend like this turn around and retrace up to supply? How do we retrace like that right there? Well, the first thing we need at minimum is a 4 hour sideways market, which is what we have right now. The next thing we need is an uptrend, which would be removing these supply zones and the high. So we've already got the sideways market in play, but we failed to break the high, which is signaling weakness. So it is possible we do retrace up to supply and rally down. Me personally, I do think it is possible we do get that move and then react off of it. It's either that or we break the lows on the DXY. It's very difficult to tell what is going to take place. You'd probably have to monitor like a 50-minute or a 5-minute time frame to really indicate that. But overall, I am bearish on the DXY. On to the forecast for the Euro US dollar here. We've had beautiful daily uptrend. We did get a little overextended here. That is why I think we are kind of getting that retracement now since mid-September. But it's really not a big deal. Why? Because we do have demand down below. Even if we do retrace down to here, I would expect this daily demand to be respected at 1.09. We do have downward momentum here. If we kind of just zoom in, you can clearly see we have lower lows being formed, peak, valley, lower low. But when you, like, if you're really zoomed in, it might look really bearish. But when you kind of just zoom out and take a bigger picture look, guys, things are looking really strong, and I honestly think we should continue to look for longs on the euro. What I would be doing is focusing on this 4 hour downtrend. We had a 4 hour demand zone that we got a trade from a couple weeks ago. Got a nice move up. Eventually, we ended up retracing back down and breaking through, creating a 4 hour supply zone. That 4 hour supply zone was removed this past week, and with that, we did create a 4 hour demand zone down at 1.10. So there's two options here. Remember, since the daily trend is up on the euro, we have to be bullish, in my opinion. So we want to be favoring longs. There are two options here to get in long on the euro, in my opinion. One, we need to wait for a pullback down to this 4-hour demand at 1.10 and look for longs in here down at that 4-hour demand zone. You could use a confirmation entry model, which I talk about on other videos on my channel, on a lower time frame, day trading time frames in there. That's fine. If you don't feel comfortable with just a stop, an entry, stop loss, and take profit, you could look for lower time frame confirmation. Like I said, you could also, since it's with the daily trend, just be looking for longs down at that 4-hour demand zone, something like that. That is option one. Option two is, let's say we don't retrace back down to that demand zone, we get a move like this, and we break this proven 4-hour supply zone. That would be very, very significant. And then any demand zone there in the 4-hour chart, we could look for longs off of like that. So basically the same thing we would do down here is what we would do up here if we can remove this 4-hour supply. There's even a third option, which is really getting a long down here like that. And let's say we push up, we break that supply. You could also add on to your position here. Your stop loss could be bumped to underneath this zone and add on there. There's really tons of options here. It's longs all the way, in my opinion. If we get some sort of nice 4-hour trend with a clear peak, valley, and higher high, then we could add 15-minute and 5-minute time frame longs as well on day trading time frames. But in the meantime, it's really pull back long entries down to 1.10 and waiting for this 4-hour supply zone to be removed and waiting for 4-hour zones to be created that we could look for longs at. And really, those are the only two options I'm seeing right now on the Euro US dollar. On to the forecast for gold. Nothing but strength here on gold. Been watching my channel for a while now. I really was hoping we could get a pullback down to this rally-based rally demand at 22.24 on the weekly chart. No sign of that right now. We are kind of just chugging along as far as the weekly chart goes. So there's not much to go off of here on the weekly chart. But look, the trends are up on the higher time frames, even on the daily chart, looking really, really good. We are about to be creating a daily demand zone down here. I can actually draw it for you guys right now. I don't mind. So we do have a daily demand right there, 25.29. Look, it's longs all the way. I'm going to point out setups on the lower time frames, but even if we do get a retracement down to this daily demand at 25.29, I think it's a perfect area to look for swing trading longs, day trading longs all the way. And even if we break this daily demand, that's okay. We have a little rally-based rally daily demand even lower at 24.70 that we can get in long at as well. So basically what we have are higher time frame trends on the weekly and the daily with tons of backstop demands to look for longs at if we do retrace. But I'm seeing no evidence of that at all at this point. I'm glad to see that this 1-hour demand zone trade that we got from last week's daily market breakdown video is still, we got our 5-to-1 take profit hit, and hopefully some of the traders in the group are still holding at least 25% of their position as we continue to push up. And that was a trade that was called out in the daily market breakdown video for the members. If you want to trade alongside myself and the community, join the Diamond membership for exclusive access to our daily market breakdown videos and catch trades like these. Plus, dive deep with our full-length forecast covering 26 plus markets, our interactive Sunday Zoom sessions, and personal homework to sharpen your strategy. And you'll also join our private Discord group for direct access to me and unlock a complete library of A to Z video lessons to master supply and demand trading. Don't miss out. Let's level up your trading. Links are in the description down below. And as far as trading gold goes now, we have a couple of options here. On the nearest 1-hour zone and is right at 25.69. It might feel like you're chasing price, and you kind of are, but that's just the nature of it. When you're trading with the trend, you're always going to be chasing price, and it's going to seem like the deeper pullback is better. But honestly, the nearest 1-hour zone is down here at 25.69. It's okay. I don't love all the trading in this area, but again, it's not too bad. It would be our nearest 1-hour demand zone to look for longs at. Again, if you don't feel comfortable just buying the zone with a entry, stop, and take profit, that's okay. You could look for day trading longs. I know a lot of you guys are probably day traders, so you could just be looking for day trading longs inside of there and maximize your risk to reward. If we do get a deeper pullback, I'm looking at the 4-hour chart here. If we do get a deeper pullback at 25.27, we do have a 4-hour demand zone down there. It is not bad. It basically removed supply, made an all-time high. What I don't like about it is it's at this previous area of resistance, so it's possible we do kind of break just a little bit below it and then rally out. That is a possibility, just to kind of warn you guys. I'm not going to get into too much detail why, but yeah, if we do get a deeper pullback in gold, that would be our next entry on the 4-hour chart. And then obviously, since we have trends on the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, and the 1-hour time frame, as long as these trends are holding, guys, 5-minute time frame longs are good, 15-minute time frame longs are good. It is really just longs all the way here on gold. On to the forecast for the USDJPY. So the last couple weeks, really the last couple months, we did break a significant weekly trend, massive move down on the USDJPY. Is it possible we do retrace up to weekly supply? Yes, no evidence of that at all right now. So just wanted to show you, clearly we have downward momentum on the weekly chart. Momentum is one thing. What I like to see is trend, and yes, they are different in my opinion. So we have a beautiful daily downtrend at this point. We have not only demand zones being removed, we have supply zones being respected. Go back, watch the forecast from all the way back here. We called out this daily supply zone. Just a beautiful setup from there. All signs pointing to the downside. Yes, we are coming into contact with this daily demand at 142.39. It is not that good of a demand zone though, so it's really not an area of concern for me. Do I think we could hesitate here? Yes, but ultimately, since the trends are down, I am expecting it to fall. As far as this 4-hour time frames go, I did point out this 4-hour supply zone in the daily market breakdown video, but I was really cautious about it. It wasn't really an area of interest for me. It was just such a quick move up. I'm actually surprised to see the trade kind of work out, but you know, sometimes the best zones fail and the worst zones work, and that's kind of what we saw here. So just a good little reminder of that. But honestly, 4-hour downtrend means 15-minute time frame and 5-minute time frame shorts are completely fine. We don't really want to trade a second pullback up to the supply at 142.29 because it's already tested and it's very tested. So I don't mind a pullback all the way up to this drop-based drop. Beautiful supply 144.75. I think it's a great area to look for a nice little swing trade short. Kind of stop everyone out here. And again, if you just zoom in on the zone, it's absolutely fantastic. It's a beautiful, nice tight basing, drop base drop, beautiful move away. I think it definitely could work. In my opinion, it's a great looking zone. So either a pullback up to that 4-hour supply zone or day trading shorts all the way. And if you look on the 1-hour time frame, we have a picture perfect 1-hour downward trend line. So as long as this downward trend line is being respected, 5-minute time frame shorts are going to be really, really good as well. So again, if you push up to here, it respects, creating a little 5-minute supply zone there. However you like to trade, it's shorts all the way. But if we break that 5-minute supply zone, if we break the 1-hour downward trend line, then we have to be cautious and say, hey, are we pulling back up to supply up here, or even just to this nearest supply again? Are we going to react again? So we have to be cautious of that 1-hour downward trend line, guys. If the 1-hour downward trend line breaks, be careful. We're going to need to see a new zone formed. So that'll be for next week probably. But in the meantime, guys, it's really shorts all the way. Like I said, that 4-hour supply zone up there is the best. And day trading shorts on the USDJPY is going to be completely good as well. On to the forecast for the GBPUSD. Looking at the weekly chart here first, we have a beautiful rally out of this weekly area down here. A nice drop base rally demand zone at 1.28. I would die for a pullback down to that weekly zone. I really, really welcome it. Based on this last weekly candle, it doesn't look like we're going to get there, although it is still possible. We do have a nice daily trend as well. So really, as long as all the way, I don't really like the idea of shorting. I was telling the members, look, we have a nice 1-hour downward trend. That could indicate we could be getting a pullback down to that weekly zone. But we have to go off of trend, and we broke the trend line right here. And that left us with a demand zone at 1.30. It is okay. It's a it's a rally-based rally demand. It's not bad. You could look for longs down there. I would prefer looking for 5-minute time frame extra confirmation as we come off the demand zone if we do, just based on the quality of the zone. Another option is if we get a deeper pullback here like this, making a new high, we'll have a 1-hour trend, and then we could also add 5-minute time frame longs just as long as the trend line is holding. But in the meantime, we either need to wait for a pullback down to that 1-hour demand zone, and that is really about it. On the 4-hour chart, I'm not seeing anything. It's just really bad price action, at least. And what I actually would be doing instead is pretty much trading the euro. The euro is similar, but based on my chain analysis on the euro, we actually have some 4-hour zones that we could be looking at. So go back to the euro analysis if you skipped over it or whatever. I'm sure you guys didn't, but I do prefer the euro over the pound. They are looking very similar, but again, I do prefer the euro. So it's one of those times where you kind of got to pick what you trade, and honestly, the euro is much cleaner and it's much more clear. So I would stick to the euro, but if you really want to trade the pound, I don't mind that 1-hour zone that I was pointing out, or waiting for a nice 1-hour trend to the upside that we could be day trading long. All right, on to the USDCAD, my home country. Let me know in the comments down below what country you guys are from. I always am interested to see. There's even some countries I've never even heard of. No offense to you guys, but let me know in the comments down below. But as far as the USDCAD goes, it's really very simple analysis, which is what I love. We have downward momentum on the daily chart. We have a drop-based drop daily supply that is in control. I don't love how much it's been tested, so it is looking like it could break, but we pretty much have to continue to look for shorts based on this daily supply being in control. I will say quickly, if we do rally up, that's fine. We have another supply above at 1.37 that we easily could get a move off of. So just wanted to point that out, but in the meantime, it's shorts all the way, and it's really setting up for a nice confirmation. Remember, we want to look for confirmation when we do look for shorts, and there is two options here. You could be on the 1 hour chart, and what you could be doing is waiting for this 1 hour demand zone to be removed. I really like this situation because we created a demand zone, it removes supply, nice rally-based rally demand, one reaction, two reactions. Like, we just keep respecting it, which, what does that mean? If you just think about it logically, it means that there is clearly demand down here. So when this demand zone is removed, that is going to be significant, and then any 1 hour supply zone there, we could look for shorts off of like that. And that will be a zone that will be on my chart analysis for all of the paying members. So that is what I'd be looking for on the 1 hour chart. And again, since it's a proven demand zone, it makes it even better. If you want to be more conservative, you could be on this 4 hour time frame here. Similar situation, 4 hour demand zone, remove supply. Nice reaction off of it, up, broke the high. We came back in for a second test. It's clearly being respected. So if we do remove this 4 hour demand zone overall, any 4 hour supply zone there we could use for shorts as well. This 4 hour confirmation is more conservative than the 1 hour time frame confirmation. It doesn't mean it's better, it just means it's less aggressive. If you want to get aggressive with it, I would stick to that H1 chart that I just pointed out and be looking for confirmation on the 1 hour chart. If you want to be more conservative, I'd be on the 4 hour chart waiting for that. If you are bullish, I don't mind this 1 hour demand zone down below. It's okay, it's not amazing. It is against the momentum, but we could see hesitation around here, maybe a small move. If you're a day trader and you want to just catch a quick move, you could see a move off this 4 hour demand zone like that, but ultimately I think we will end up breaking. So really, just to kind of summarize again, higher time frame analysis is showing we should be looking for shorts. We have a daily supply zone that's in control, and now we are over here on the 4 hour chart or the 1 hour chart waiting for demand zones to be removed and supply zones to be created to look for shorts off of to trade with the overall higher time frame on the USDCAD. On to the weekly Forex forecast for the AUDUSD, the Aussie US dollar. Last week we talked, the last couple weeks we've been talking about this rally-based rally daily demand zone that we had profit margin to, and I said if you are shorting, be careful there. We could see a move off of it, and now we should be looking for longs at 0.66325. It's a beautiful daily demand zone with an overall daily trend, so it's really longs all the way based on my higher time frame analysis. We are low in the curve compared to the high of the curve. We need to be focusing on long, guys. I cannot stress that enough. There are two options here. If you want to be aggressive, you could be on this 1 hour time frame here. We actually already kind of got a 1 hour confirmation right there. I didn't realize we did remove the trend line. 1 hour zone right there. Nice move off of that, but we are getting retracement back now. If you want, there is a 1 hour zone all the way down at the extreme at 0.66. I'm not a huge fan of it. It could work, but it's a little bit sketchy in my opinion. So those are two options, or that's the one option on the 1 hour chart. What I really like is this 4 hour time frame. We have a beautiful 4 hour downward trend line. The downward trend line is being respected, which means a lot of the traders are seeing this, right? So it could mean a lot of the traders are shorting this downward trend line, not understanding that down here, a higher time frame zone has become in control, and that is why we are seeing a move up. So I am expecting price to rally up. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But when I see a daily demand zone come in control like that, I have to look for longs. I cannot continue to look for shorts. Again, I could be completely wrong, but it's my edge. I have to go with it. So it's longs all the way, and I really like what we're seeing here. The best situation would be a blast off of here, not only removing the downward trend line, but removing this supply, breaking 0.6767. That would be really great. And if we had a 4 hour zone right there, this would be our confirmation entry model, just like this. Again, we remove the downward trend line and the supply zone, creating a 4-hour demand zone, and a pullback down in that demand zone would be our confirmation. That would be the best situation. It's also possible maybe we continue down, break the downward trend line, respect the 4-hour supply, but if we break, as long as we break the downward trend line, it's fine for confirmation, and we can look for longs like that. So again, even if we do, like I said, respect this supply, that's okay. It's not the best situation. It's a lot to ask for not only the supply and the downward trend line to be removed. So again, if we just remove one, just the trend line, that would be good enough. But the premium entry would be breaking that supply zone as well. And then let's say we don't create a zone here, that's okay. If we just make another, if we break this supply zone up here, the zones were created there, we could also look for longs there. So it's really longs all the way. We just need to see basically a change of direction by removing the supply and removing the downward trend line there on the Aussie US dollar. All right, on to the forecast for the USDCHF. We are just really pushing down here. We have daily downward trends. We have supply zones being respected. So it's really shorts all the way on the USDCHF. There's just not a lot to go off of here. On the 4-hour time frame, we had this 1-hour downward trend line removed. Didn't really create a zone, and now we are kind of just going sideways here on the 4-hour chart. So what we really want to see, unfortunately, is the break of this this low down here. Any 4-hour supply zone there, we could be looking for shorts. If you want to get a little bit aggressive, if you look here, we had a trend line from all the way back here. The trend line was respected. So what that means is the trend line is being respected. So 15-minute time frame shorts are completely fine at this time. So if there's a 50-minute supply zone here, or whatever you want to trade, whatever you trade, 50-minute time frame, 5-minute time frame, you could be looking for shorts as long as the trend line is being respected. If we break the trend line, that could signal some strength, and that we could be maybe even retracing up to weekly demand. I know it's a pretty big move up, but it would be the first sign of that. So that's really the one option on the 4-hour chart, basically just day trading that downward 4-hour trend line. On the 1-hour time frame here, we had a 1-hour demand zone respected here, or sorry, 1-hour upward trend line, not a demand zone. And what we could be waiting for, really simple, and it's really simple in my opinion. If we break this 1-hour upward trend line, any 1-hour supply zone there could be a short entry like that. And again, I will have this zone on the chart for any of the members who are part of the group. So at this point, I'm not seeing any zones, but again, if we remove this upward trend line, that would be great. Any supply zone there would be fantastic. Why? Because the daily trend is down. This could just be this 1-hour trend line we're seeing. It's basically, in my opinion, just a temporary trend that we are seeing. So once it's removed, if it is, the supply zone there would be significant, and we could look for shorts off of it like that. Last but not least, we are on to crude oil. And if anybody's been watching the whole time here, I do appreciate every single one of you guys. And I'm sure you guys are semi-fans of me. It feels weird to say, but check out the podcast. I just released the 2nd episode of the Stoic Trading Psychology podcast. Would be happy to have you guys listen. All feedback is welcomed, even if it's negative. I really want to hear the feedback and grow the podcast. So check it out. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you get your podcasts. So looking at oil here, we have a weekly downward trend. If you look here, we clearly contacted a weekly demand zone and we rallied off of it. Look how much it's tested though. So it's not really an area of interest for me. I'm not surprised to see a reaction off of it, but it's not like I'm dying to trade down here. This has pretty much turned into support, not demand. They are completely two different things. So if you still think supply and demand and support resistance are the same or very similar, they are actually the opposite. So you have a lot to learn, and check out my tips playlist. I'm sure you can learn more. So yes, we are hitting that weekly demand zone. So it is a little bit tricky right now, but look at the daily trend. It is down, it is weak. What we could be seeing, since that weekly demand zone has come to control, it could just mean we are getting a pullback up to this daily supply, which we could rally off of at 73.31. So yes, we could kind of fill in that gap and rally down right now. So there are a few options here. I'm going to point out both sides. We do have a base drop 4-hour supply that is in control right now, and we are reacting off of it to the downside. If we get a push lower, creating a little day trading confirmation there, we could look for shorts off of this 4-hour supply zone there on crude oil. That is one option. If you are bullish and you think, hey, going back to the daily chart, I think we are going to retrace up to daily demand and I want to catch that move, that's fine. If that's your plan, it is counter trend, but as long as you have a plan, That's what matters. So what you could be doing is looking for longs off of this 1 hour demand zone at 68.70. That is one option, or down here at 66.99. Yes, this drop-based rally demand zone down below is a better price, but I do think this is a better overall zone. So we could definitely see a move off that 1 hour zone there. And if we do get that, we break the high, we'll have a 1 hour trend, and 5-minute time frame longs are going to be good as well. So I'd rather be shorting with that daily trend, but since we've seen the break of the 1 hour downward trend line here, things are looking strong, and we could start to see moves up with clear profit margin, like I said, up to this daily supply, where we can then look to take profit and switch to potential shorts here on crude oil. If you guys want to watch the full length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.